All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever had that feeling, you're sitting in the same room with someone you absolutely love, but you might as well be on different planets? It's this weird, common thing that can happen in long-term relationships, right? Where you're physically there, but emotionally, you're just not connected. So today, we're going to dig into why that happens and what it really means to show up for your partner.
This sentence right here, it's a gut punch. It can expose a really deep crack in a relationship's foundation. And it's the exact line that kicked off a crisis for Sophie and Ayaan, a couple whose story is going to help us unpack this crucial difference between just putting in effort and truly being present. Okay, so let's meet our couple, Sophie and Ayaan. Their story, like a lot of great stories, started in this bustling cafe. Full of life, easy conversation, just an instant connection. But lately for Sophie, that whole vibe had just disappeared. Instead, there was this quiet, growing tension, a silence that felt heavier every single day.
I mean, in the beginning, it was all so easy. Their connection felt completely natural. It was built on those late-night walks and conversations that could go on forever. There was this effortless intimacy that just made everything feel right. This is the before picture, the feeling they were both desperate to get back to.
And look at this. This is what's so wild. It shows you just how fast things can change. Because the drift, it's almost never this big, sudden explosion. For Sophie and Ayaan, it was a slow burn. Those deep talks, they turned into quick, "How was your day?" check-ins. Real listening? Yeah, that became distracted replies while scrolling a phone. And then it gets to the point where even good night is just a text from the other room. It's this slow fade, and I bet a lot of us can kind of recognize that.
So what was really going on here? Was it a lack of love? No, not at all. The problem was way more subtle. It was a fundamental misunderstanding of what showing love actually looks like, especially when life gets stressful. Let's really break down the heart of their conflict. This, right here, just nails the disconnect perfectly. On one side, you've got Ayaan. For him, love is about doing. He's putting in these crazy stressful hours at work, and in his head, he's thinking, I'm doing all this for us. His effort is something you can see, you can measure. But then there's Sophie. For her, love is about attention. She doesn't need more things, she just needs more of him. Her need is all internal. It's about feeling connected, about hearing, I need you with me. And here's the key. Neither of them is wrong. They're just speaking totally different languages. So what Sophie was missing, what she was craving, is this thing psychologists call emotional presence. And it's not just about being in the same zip code. It's about being completely tuned in, mentally, emotionally, to what your partner is going through, without your phone or the TV or the million worries from work pulling your focus away. And this disconnect, well, it eventually boiled over into a really painful confrontation. Because when one person is trying their absolute best, but in a way the other person just can't feel, the words I'm trying can stop sounding like a reassurance and start feeling like a dismissal. Let's see how this all hit a crisis point. And that was the line from Sophie that changed everything. That is one of the most devastating things you can hear from a partner, because it just perfectly captures that feeling of emotional abandonment. She wasn't just sad, she was deeply, profoundly lonely inside the relationship. And Ayaan's response is just as revealing, isn't it? He's not just being defensive, he is genuinely hurt. From his point of view, every single drop of his energy was going toward building a future for them. He truly could not understand how his sacrifice was coming across as neglect. The gap between their realities was just massive. Sophie's last plea here, it completely reframes the whole problem. This isn't a complaint anymore, it's an urgent warning. It's a powerful call to action that's basically saying, hey, we're not broken yet, but we're fading. Please see me. Connect with me now before it's too late. And that's what finally got through to him. So that night, Ayaan did some really serious thinking. And he realized the issue wasn't about working less, it was about connecting differently. The fix didn't need some huge, grand gesture. All it needed was a small, but really intentional shift in how he showed up. And here it is. This was his big breakthrough. He'd been so focused on providing for the relationship, on just staying in it, that he kind of forgot how to actually be in it. He realized that showing up isn't just about your physical body being there. It's about the quality, the intention behind your presence. So what did he do? Something so simple. The next morning, he went to their cafe early. Yep, the same one where it all began. First, he created the space. Second, he got rid of all distractions. Phone away, laptop gone. He was 100% present. And third, a simple invitation. When Sophie walked in, he didn't launch into a big apology. He just looked at her and said, "Sit with me first." It was a simple, powerful reset button. And this moment of vulnerability, it was everything. By admitting he'd forgotten how to be with her properly, he was validating every single thing she'd been feeling. He wasn't making excuses, he was taking ownership. And in that one moment of raw honesty, you could just feel the emotional distance between them start to shrink. Sophie and Ayaan's story is such a powerful lesson in being intentional with our connection. So now, let's turn the camera around a bit. Let's take these lessons and turn them into a few practical questions you can ask yourself about your own relationship. All right, first up, a really simple diagnostic check. Just think about the last real conversation you had with your partner. Where was your phone? Was your mind actually on what they were saying? Or was it kind of halfway to your email inbox? You'd be amazed how the smallest distractions can build the biggest emotional walls. Okay, this one's a little deeper. You might be working incredibly hard for your relationship, just like Ayaan was. But is that effort actually landing? Is your partner feeling it as connection? This one really forces us to look at that gap between what we intend and what the actual impact is. And finally, let's look forward. Thinking about Ayaan's little morning reset, what is one tiny, consistent thing you could do every single day? Seriously, it could be 5 minutes of phone-free conversation when you get home from work, or just putting everything down to truly listen when they talk. It's almost always the smallest habits that build the strongest trust. So look, the big takeaway here isn't that effort is bad, or that it doesn't matter. Of course it does. But it's that effort without presence. Well, it just gets lost in translation. It doesn't land. What Sophie and Ayaan's story really reminds us of is that sometimes the most powerful, most valuable thing we can possibly offer someone is just our undivided attention. Because when it comes right down to it, sometimes love doesn't actually fail. It just needs to be understood.